Well, good evening. My name's Mark and I ride a bike. 23 years ago, I still had a car and I didn't have a bike. And I thought about bicycles, if I thought about them at all, the way most people in the United States think about bikes. They're either a child's toy, a rich man's obsession, or a poor man's last choice. 22 years ago, I gave up my car. Since then, I've changed my mind and my thinking. So 120 years ago, back when the bicycle had evolved to the point it is now with the double diamond frame, this gentleman, H.G. Wells, saw the bicycle as possible salvation for humanity. That he saw an adult on a bike, although perhaps not this adult, and thought things were going to go well for humans. Sometime later, someone else thought about bikes, and they said it was the epitome, the peak of human invention, and that things should have stopped then. What changed? Well, in 1923, in St. Louis, this is what they thought about cars. The modern Moloch, the demon that required human sacrifice to be appeased because of the death toll on the streets. The streets have been taken over by cars, taken back from humans, and it was killing people. Well, what's changed? This chart is 57 years of my nearly 60 years of being around. It shows that in those 57 years, 2.5 million people have been killed by automobiles. Those skulls represent people who are either members of my family or friends. The one on the left is my mother when I was 13. The one on the right is a friend of mine who was killed a year ago. But we all die, right? Death, taxes. So the friends at the Centers for Disease Control looked at what was going on and said, okay, how do we die? In 2010, most people, all ages, all genders, all everything, the first 4 things are health issues. The 5th one is where accidental injury comes in. That's where the cars are. And the last 5 are health issues. The interesting thing is the first 4 can be mitigated by riding a bicycle. The last 5 can be mitigated by riding a bicycle. And all of them are aggravated by being in a car. But that was for everybody and every time. So what happens across our age as we grow up? Well, it turns out if you're under the age of 1, you don't usually die in a car in an accident. You do drowned, but the second leading cause of accidental death is cars. All the way through until 55, the first or second cause of death for Americans is the automobile. And it's not just us. It's the world. The people between the age of 10 and 25 or 35 are most likely to die in an automobile. So, what happens here in this parish? Well, last year, or 2010, 52 people died, 1 a week. Almost 10,000 people were injured, and that's anywhere from a bump on the head to being a permanent paraplegic. There was $136 million in property damage. All of it cost $919 million in 1 year in this parish, which means everybody who has a driver's license, including me, and I haven't had a car in 22 years, paid $3,500 just to mitigate the damage of the automobiles. So, another thing that keeps coming up is traumatic brain injury. How does it happen? Where does it go? Well, it turns out most of it happens from people falling. Most of those happen in the house. Most of those happen in the toilet. But, so be careful. The next largest group is automobile accidents. And it turns out that traumatic brain injuries caused in a crash in an automobile is most likely to kill you. So as a culture, how do we deal with this information? You're going to have trouble, you're going to be in a car, you're going to get brain injury. Well, this is how we deal with it. And the rest. We want to legislate mandatory bicycle helmet wearing. The people who are least likely to suffer from a head injury, we want to make wear helmets, with the exception of one guy. Our friend Jack. I'll leave it to your imagination as to how successful this particular campaign is going to be, but I suspect that everybody here doesn't know Jack. Fortunately, we get to the reason that I'm really doing this. It's true. You cannot be sad riding a bicycle. You really can't. Nor can your dog. So this survey in Canada says, okay, people who are getting to work, how do they get there? Who's most happy getting to work? And it turns out that 2/3 of the people surveyed said if they walked or rode their bicycle, they had a great commute. Unfortunately, the 25% of the people who rode public transit and the 1/3 of the people who drove did not have a good commute. And I ask you to consider, when's the last time you got to work or heard somebody at work saying, "Oh, what a great commute this morning, it was so wonderful." The other thing is, riding a bicycle makes us smarter. Another good reason for everybody to be riding a bicycle. Studies have proven that older people who are active have 5% more brain tissue. Nice to have a bigger brain when you get older, because it means you can do things longer. Patients who have severe depression by riding a bicycle are no longer depressed. You don't have to have a prescription. You don't have to suffer side effects. You just have to go for a ride. Students with ADHD, or the adult version of it, suffer, well, terrible attention problems. But when you ride a bike, you don't. And as the doctor here says, it's like taking a little bit of Ritalin and a little bit of Prozac. Okay? Well, okay, I'm not taking Prozac or Ritalin, but, I ride a bike. So, hey, I want a discount for all the drugs that I'm not taking. This is really striking to me, that Parkinson's patients who ride a bicycle show improvement, vast improvement. There's a video going around this last couple of weeks from a British Parkinson's sufferer who they show him being brought out of the treatment center. He can barely stand. They put him on a bicycle, off he goes. He does circles, he does rinds, he comes around, he does this. He gets off the bike and almost falls over again. And most importantly, riding a bicycle increases the chemistry in your brain that makes you peaceful and calm. Who here does not want peace and calm in their life? Well, I like it. That's why I keep doing this. That's why I keep asking people to do it themselves, because it's good for you. But don't take my word for it.
I ride because, lots of reasons.
Okay, I ride a bike because I like to. It's a convenient way to get around, and I like to go to the grocery store on bikes.
I ride my bike because it's the best thing in the world.
I ride a bicycle for the joy of it.
I ride because no matter where I'm going or what I'm doing, I end up a lot less frustrated than when I drive.
I ride a bike because it is fun, it keeps me fit, and saves me money.
I ride because it's fun.
Because it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Because it's fun.
I ride because it is so much fun, and I love Baton Rouge.
I ride because it's all I know.
I ride a bike because I feel more engaged in my life.
Putting more cyclists on the street is one way to help bring safety to the other cyclists that are on the street.
Because it's everything that I want it to be and nothing that I don't.
I ride a bike to reduce my carbon footprint.
Every trip is an adventure.
I got tired of sitting in my car being mad about using too much foreign oil.
when you're on a bike, you talk to the people that you pass. I find myself thinking of drivers as people again instead of just as other little robots driving around.
I've definitely become more involved with the city. I interact with it on a daily basis now, whereas before I just kind of watched it pass through the window.
And it's a lot easier to get around town in BR and deal with traffic on a bicycle, I think, than in a car.
I get to ride with a lot of friends and have good conversation. A lot of times rides are usually followed up with beer and food. I like beer and food.
I ride for kicks, for fun.
You can meet people, and it sure beats watching TV.
I ride my bike because I'd probably be fat if I didn't.
But I really ride because it brings me joy.
So if you want to enrich your life, try a bicycle. That's why I ride a bike.
Perfect.